This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus back with another video in the 17 days of Star Wars series. So I want to talk about some of my favorite characters and some of my favorite moments from the Star Wars movies, and kind of from books that I've read too, because I haven't read a lot of the books which are now non-canon. They got decanonized by Disney once Disney took over and announced The Force Awakens. They also announced that a lot of the other books that were written before they took over have now been considered non-canon and will for now be considered like legacy Star Wars Legends, Star Wars Legacy books. So which kind of sucks, because there was some really good stuff in some of the books that I've read. I wish I would have had a chance to read a lot more. Like, I wish I got a chance to read the entire Vong War. I think I happened upon a book that someone let me borrow, and it was, I think it was a title from the aftermath of the Vong War. But I don't remember much about it. I really don't remember much about the Yuuzhan Vong book that I've read. All I remember is that there was a space station that Imperials had, and it was getting invaded by somebody. I don't know much after that. I forget. But the ones that I do definitely remember are the ones where Jacen Solo went nuts. Jacen Solo was the son of Han and Leia. They had another son by the name of Anakin who sacrificed himself during the Vong War that Jacen was trying to live up to, and his twin sister Jaina, she was a badass too. They're two of my favorite characters, I guess, to roll this off, because it was great to see the change in Jacen. Even though and when I say he's one of my favorites, it's not because I found him likable, but I like the transition. I like how he kind of, in a roundabout way, became the heir to his grandfather. You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy. And the things he would do, the lies he would tell, how he would manipulate things, and he thought he was so clever. But it was like Luke saw through it, because Luke, one of the baddest fucking people in the universe, could see everything. But I'll probably talk more about that a little later in this video. And his sister, she was just cool as hell. I like Jaina a lot. Of course, being the children of Han Solo, I should find them cool, because Han Solo is by far my favorite of all time. I grew as a kid watching Star Wars movies. You know how when you were a kid, you used to play pretend, make believe, all of that. I always wanted to be Han Solo, because I always thought he was so cool. I loved his laid back, nonchalant, sarcastic, style and all of that. He was just he was a badass to me. Han will always be my favorite. Chewie, of course, is going to be one of my favorites. Luke, I love Luke, but Han beats out Luke, hands down. It's funny, because another character that probably beats out Luke, I think more in my adulthood than back then, is Boba Fett. I wasn't big on Boba Fett. I thought it was a cool character, a cool moment in Return of the Jedi, how he got taken out and all that, but didn't really know much about Boba Fett until I got to these books about Jacen's reign of terror, where I got to learn more about Boba Fett. I read some background after that, found out how he survived the Sarlacc pit. It's fucking cool as hell. He just fuck it, take my leg, I'm about to climb out this bitch, go back, get another clone leg, and I'm gonna terrorize Han Solo. It's funny too, because I remember one time Han Solo ran into him, I think, and he was like, "Nah, it's cool. I'm done with you for now. You know what I mean? And it's like Han still had that fear of Boba Fett, because that's the type of character that Boba was. Boba could put the fear in you because he was that good of a bounty hunter. Any guy who had no qualms about going after Jedis, you know that he's a badass, because he pretty had no fear. He's such a badass. He had to teach a Jedi, Jaina Solo, how to beat another Jedi. A non-Jedi teaching you how to beat a Jedi at his own game. That's when you know you're fucking badass. You know, King of the Mandalorians, all of that. You know, Boba Fett, he was the fucking man. And I understand, after reading to those books, I understood why people became such a huge fan after him. It wasn't just like made up fan lore. It was just like the way that they've established Boba Fett in those books that aren't canon now, sadly enough. He's fucking like, he's a fucking boss. Boba Fett is a boss. Prequel characters, I didn't really vibe a lot with. I mean, I love Yoda, but Yoda is from the originals too, so yeah. Darth Vader, of course, everybody likes Darth Vader. Didn't like Anakin though. Anakin sucked. Anakin Skywalker was a bitch. Fuck. It's funny how such a bitch became such a badass. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened, but yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what happened over the years after he got fucked up by Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? But prequel characters, there wasn't really a lot that I could say that I clung to. Of course, I like Darth Maul. I thought Darth Maul was cool. But I don't know. And again, this may be my whole distaste for the way that they told the prequel stories. I really didn't find myself like adhering to or latching to. There weren't any real memorable characters that didn't come from the previous movies in that, sadly enough. He wasted an opportunity to establish some better new, like, I guess you could say you like Mace Windu, but he didn't really get, you know what I mean? He didn't really get all these other people into the mix more. You mostly were engaging with people that you knew, or that you knew would become, you know, this, you know what I mean? So the prequels were kind of wasted as far as finding characters to love. And I'd be curious to know, anybody who grew up in the era when the prequels came out, if those were your first experiences, what were your favorite characters if you liked those movies? I'm curious to see, like, what were the characters that you would latch on? And I'm curious to see, is it still going to be like the old favorites that people adhered to, or is someone like that was newly introduced in those going to be that? I'm very, very curious to see that. But those are pretty much Wedge. I can't forget Wedge. I'm probably one of the few people. Well, Lando. I almost forgot Lando. Love Lando Calrissian. Of course, growing up at the time that these movies were out, I guess if you were a young black kid, of course you loved Lando, because you could identify with, like, the only brother in space. You know, there was only two brothers I've ever seen in the Star Wars series. Lando, who was cool as hell, and then the one dude who, in Return of the Jedi, all you got to see of him was about 5 seconds. She's about to blow, and then his X-Wing blows up. That's about it. Well, he may have been in the Red Squad and called out, or Gold Squad, and did a call out, so he might have got two scenes. But yeah, Lando's pretty much like the black guy of Star Wars at the time. Although I guess you could count Darth Vader's voice if you want to. But nah. Seriously though. Yeah, that's pretty. Wedge definitely does rate high with me, especially now that I know, like, having read some of the Rogue Squadron books, how much of a badass he became as well. Yeah, Wedge Antilles is actually a pretty dope character. He's the guy who survives that Luke sends off in Episode 1. He's the guy in the speeder that takes out the Walker, and he's the guy who makes the final run with Lando on the Death Star's core, and he's the guy who comes out right before Lando shoots out of there. So Wedge actually, for someone who was played as such a, like, low-key quote-unquote bit role, Wedge Antilles actually was a significant contributor to 3 of the greatest battles in Rebel history. One being a defeat where he pretty much was the one to have the biggest impact offensively, oddly enough, and well, Luke too, because Luke took out a Walker as well. So, but yeah, he equaled Luke in the escape from Hoth. You know, like I said, he was a key contributor, even though he had to like get out of there because his shit was damaged. He couldn't help protect Luke anymore. Shout out to Biggs, by the way. Rest in peace, son. You know, you yelled wait. I don't know what that was gonna do. Darth Vader wasn't gonna wait. He was gonna fuck you up either way. You should have ran too. But yeah, Wedge and then Return of the Jedi. You know, gold leader. Wedge fucking was the man. Wedge was the man. Y'all need to don't sleep on Wedge Antilles, y'all. Seriously. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as favorite characters. What are your favorite characters? I meant to talk about famous moments, and I guess I should do this briefly. The video's kind of getting long, but then this is Star Wars. Who cannot, if you're a fan of Star Wars, who can't go on for long periods of time talking about Star Wars? Anyway, favorite moments. I will say the prequels did breed some good moments. I think in particular in the like lightsaber duels, they had some great coordination. Like the Darth Maul, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight, that was well choreographed. It was beautifully done. It seriously was. I love the way that it flowed back and forth, you know, when they were all going at it. And then after Qui-Gon got killed and all of that, it was very well paced. The Anakin Obi-Wan was okay. I would say it was ruined more by some theatrics, like the whole like twirling of the lightsabers before they clashed thing. That was kind of overdone too long. And the way it ended kind of was just like, yeah, you idiot, you could have, you an idiot. And it just like made you hate Anakin even more for being that fucking stupid. So, the Yoda fight, of course, was great. Against Sidious and against, Count Dooku. So, Yoda, you know, it was cool to see Yoda fight because, like, you always just thought of Yoda as just like this small little old, you know, puppet who had all this wisdom, but you never really got to see his true badassness come out, and that was cool to actually get to see it. You know, what else was a good moment though? The Clone War thing, period. Clone War battles, I think, were probably the best in that whole sequel. I like the Clone War battles; they were pretty cool. Beyond that, that would probably be the bulk of my cool moments for the prequels. As far as, of course, the original trilogy, so many. You know, the run on the first Death Star was a great moment. Han and Luke fighting off the TIE fighters. The rush from the Death Star when they had to run through the trash compactor. You know, some of the great lines. You know, you scruffy looking nerf herder line from I believe that was in Empire Strikes Back. That was a great line. You know, it was just a lot. It was just a lot. The way they interacted between each other was great too. The characters from the original trilogy, they had a better chemistry, I think, than the characters in the prequels. That helped make that movie, those movies better. Even though I still say that they weren't the strongest in dialogue either. You know, meeting the Ewoks and things like that. That interaction, them thinking CPO was a god and all of that. You know, the Battle of Hoth was such a great moment. Lando helping them get out of the Cloud City and things like that. Luke finding out like Vader's his father. This I could go on and on and on about the moments, but I think that's one of the things that made the original trilogy so good, is that there were so many impactful moments on top of some great action. You know, that any of its flaws could be kind of hidden because it was paced. They were paced well, and they had the highs were really good highs. You know what I mean? So I think that's why the prequels kind of lacked. They didn't have that same magic or chemistry that the originals. But it is what it is. But anyway, now I'm done talking about this. So as always, you guys, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Megas, and I'm out, y'all. Deuces.